This is Fan First Network.
So the series ends, the season ends, Game 5 of Round 2.
Listen, if you can't win a game at home and you lose 3 games in a row at home, you don't deserve to make it to the next round and play in the conference finals. Plain and simple. Your best players need to be your best players. Your top 5 guys need to produce when it counts at the time that you need them the most. Guys like David Kampf played one hell of a series, but if he's your best player, that's a problem. Now, having that said, you got to tip your hat to Sergei Bobrovsky. He had an outstanding series. And I'm not going to pin this on the kid Joseph Wall. It was his second career playoff start, and he played outstanding. Yes, he'd probably want that overtime goal back. He'd probably maybe want the first goal of this game back. But you know what? He made over 40 saves.
Yes.
And seriously, the kid was fine. He almost got a shutout in his first career playoff start. So this is not at all on him. The team fell down 3-0, and that's a very high, mountain to climb.
They beat themselves so early in this series. You can't expect them to come back and be one of the 5 teams ever to do it.
Right. I mean, there's a reason why they have the stats,
Yep.
right, where only 4 teams have ever done it out of about 200 tries, right, to come back from 3-0. When they lost the first game, it was no big deal. It wasn't the end of the world. When they lost the second game, and again at home, that was when a bell started sounding off. And then you had to win Game 3 to not fall 3-0 because, once you get into that predicament, it's,
Too late.
It's too late because the stats and the historically it just doesn't happen, right? So I don't even know what else to say at this point.
Man, there isn't a whole lot else to say, especially about this season, but there is going to be a huge amount of discussion about the offseason, about next season. Kyle Dubas, maybe Brendan Shanahan, Sheldon Keefe, the core 4 players. What do you think needs to happen in the offseason? It's the golden question, and you may not have the answer, but what do you think?
Well, I may have some of the answers, but a lot of there's other questions I don't have the answers to. I'll tell you this right now. Brendan Shanahan's not going anywhere. He's still got about 3 years left on his contract. Kyle Dubas, I tell you what, my man, I know that Leafs Nation, there's been this fire Dubas for about 2 years since the Montreal series.
You don't know what you're talking about.
It wouldn't be I would not necessarily agree with the decision if that were to happen. However, I should point out I do like the roster, and I'm a big Dubas fan.
Paging Austin Matthews, we're looking for you. Where are you, man?
That was scathing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had a few, and I could smell it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but I should point out that, Sheldon Keefe in his 4 playoffs that he's coached, I think he's been out-coached in every series that he's – or not – maybe not in the Tampa series this year.
I will go a step further and say he's pretty much been out-coached in every playoff game we've witnessed him as the Leafs head coach.
Every playoff game.
Pretty close to it. There's been very few in which he has not been.
Okay, well, you know what? I can't argue with it. And whether it's a more experienced coach like Paul Maurice, John Tortorella, or if it's like a rookie coach like Ducharme, he got out-coached either way. So you have to be careful in this market a lot of the times when you hire general management and coaches that are that don't have previous NHL experience. When you had guys, I'm not saying that it should go back to this, but when you had Lou Lamoriello, when you had Mike Babcock, when they made a mistake, and they made their mistakes too, the fans and media couldn't question it, right? Because they've got the credentials. So you have to be careful in this market when you have younger, inexperienced general managers and coaches. But from a body of work, I'd say Kyle Dubas has done a great job. Sheldon Keefe has done a great regular season job. I just don't know if the problem that I have with Sheldon Keefe the most is the lineup decisions that he makes in the playoffs. Who's playing with who? When Matthews is playing with Marner and they're not scoring and it's not working for a game, 2 games, 3 games, switch it up. And if I was the coach, I tell you, Matthews and Willie would be playing on the same line, and Marner would be playing Tavares, and I'd leave it like that. I'd never change unless it didn't work. Change it back. But for the most part, that's what I would put. That's what I would do. Yeah.
We got to Game 5 of the second round, and we don't know what our best lines are. I think that says a decent bit about Sheldon Keefe as a head coach. And my question to you is, if you had any coach in the NHL with this lineup that Dubas has assembled, would they not set records with the Leafs franchise?
If they had a more veteran coach in the playoffs?
No. Would Sheldon Keefe set records with this team in the regular season?
Franchise records,
Would any coach not do that with this group?
No, my man, you or me could be coaching this team. It's a 100-plus point team. It doesn't matter. The goalie doesn't matter. The coach doesn't matter. This team is driven with these star players that we have, and it's a great team. It's a contending team. Like it's one of the top teams in the NHL for the past 3-4 years. Unfortunately, we've come up short again. All I know is one thing, my good man. Regardless of who the general manager is, Austin Matthews needs to sign an 8-year deal this summer when he's eligible to, when you've got 1 year left. Willie, I love him. I love him more than all these guys. I just don't know if you can fit everybody under the cap. There are going to be decisions. There's going to be decisions that have to be made. And I'm not sure what the answer is. I know this is fresh right now, and I'm going to have to sleep on this for a bit. I'm sure
we got lots of time to think about it now.
Right, we got lots of time to. Yeah, welcome to the beginning. Welcome to the beginning of our weekend here. So where this goes from here, who knows? I do know that we'll be back here next year,
guaranteed,
in the playoffs and being a contending team. My man, you are fantastic. You guys are phenomenal. Fan First Network. If you haven't subscribed to them on any of your social media platforms, please do so. These guys are troopers. These guys are here after every game in Toronto sports. And I guess the next time I'll see you will be over there by the Rogers Center.
We will be there for outside gate 6. We'll always be there.
All right.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
This is Fan First Network.